Welcome to Trudge the Road. Trudge the Road is sponsored by Karen Treatment Centers. Karen's a nonprofit leading provider of drug and alcohol addiction treatment with treatment facilities in Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, offices in Bermuda, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. They can be reached by calling 1-800-854-6023, or you can go to their website, Karen.org. That's CARON.org. We're your hosts. I'm Rich, a recovered drug addict.
My name is Jerry, and I am a sober alcoholic.
Before we get started, Jerry, please let everyone know why we do this show.
Thank you, Rich. Trudge the Road Radio is a show dedicated to folks like ourselves who suffer from the disease of addiction to drugs and alcohol. And every bit as important, family members and friends, you suffer tremendously. And we know you got a lot of questions. Our goal here is to answer as many of those questions as we possibly can. And with the grace of the good Lord above, maybe provide a solution to this incredible dilemma, the disease of addiction.
A couple of programming notes. Matt, the producer.
Oh, wow. I got like intro music now. It's nice. Thanks, dude. Very simple. Just go to trudgetheroadradio.com. There you'll find all information regarding Trudge the Road. You can link to our Facebook page where we would love for you to like us. You can link to our Twitter feed at TTR Show. And you could also link to our YouTube page where you can catch all prior episodes of this lovely radio program. And there's a link there as well for our Jerry and the 12 Steps DVD.
Thank you very much.
A wonderful recovery tool. And keep up on news and what's happening and everything that's good with Trudge the Road.
Yeah, it can be noted that you can purchase the DVD via the Trudge the Road radio website, or you can go to Amazon.com and get it there. Coming up, we're going to talk about a personal issue with a friend of yours, Jerry.
Well, you know, it's something that I would like to share that I know a lot of folks who are listening are going through. And those of you who have a person who is addicted to drugs or alcohol in your life and that desperation you feel in those questions. I'm going through the exact same thing right now with somebody whom I love dearly. And, you know, there's a number of people in my life who, you know, I'd take a bullet for. I would do anything for. And this is one of those people. And it's quite a dilemma that I'm facing. And I just want to be able to relate that so that maybe we can all connect a little bit further. You know?
All right, that's coming up in our second segment. But our first segment today is we're going to do a brief recap. We were recently privileged enough to attend a conference of young people in Maryland.
What a blast, huh?
I'll tell you, we had a great time. It should be noted. It's the second time I've said that today.
Yes.
But it should be noted, that's three, that you were the headliner speaker at this particular convention, and what a great job you did.
It was a great night. I was blessed.
But it was young people, but also young at heart. So that way, you know, it was not only young people.
People my age were okay to be there.
Yeah, if you were young at heart.
It seems laughing in the back already.
They did a heart check when you came in.
And that's,
your heart's not young enough.
And that's it. Before we go a whole lot further, no more going on the road without Slappy, without Matt the producer. It's just not fun.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's fun, but it's not as fun. We learned that in California.
Well, basically, we spent a good portion of our time saying, boy, I wish Matt was here.
Oh, man, Slappy would be loving that.
Yeah.
Because St. Michael's Island is just one of the most beautiful places I have ever been in my life. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it truly is. It's a very romantic getaway if you
That's
are
why
thinking
you
about
wanted me there, right?
Yeah, really.
Very romantic.
Yeah, you and a Barry White CD, and we're good.
But it was St. Michael's Island in Maryland, and that's where the convention was at the Best Western. I want to say hi to Sashi.
Oh, what a great guy.
Sashi
what a wonderful
is the guy that he owns the Best Western Hotel out there.
The Motor Lodge, man, it's kind of old school, but it's really neat. I loved it.
It really was.
Yeah.
And we just had a fantastic time. They were very accommodating there. It was a beautiful hotel. And thank you again for your hospitality while we were there. There's a lot of people we could say hi to here, and we will.
And Joyce, for one of the speakers who spoke on Friday night.
Joyce. Wow.
That girl was absolutely amazing. I would love to have her. And Jen, who was our Al-Anon speaker, one of the best Al-Anon speakers I've ever heard, and literally I've heard thousands. And her message, both of those girls were just absolutely a gift, a spiritual gift from God for me to be able to hear their stories.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, Jen is going to be joining us. She is an Al-Anon speaker, and she is from a part of Pennsylvania, not too far from here. And at one time, here's a connection, at one time she went to Breakthrough.
No way, here at Karen.
At Karen Treatment Centers in Wernersville, Pennsylvania, just outside Philadelphia. It was before Ann Smith took over the program. She said it was the year before.
Oh, my gosh.
But she's going to be joining us, and we're very excited about that. So look for that show here in a couple of weeks or so.
You know, we ought to go through Breakthrough. We really should.
Should we?
I'm a little afraid of it.
You and me both.
Afraid of what they might find out. Not that they might find out, what I might find out.
Well, we went down to Maryland, and it was Jerry and I. We drove down, and it was a great trip down. Got settled in. Very first day, we went through stuff. Actually, that night we had got there on a Friday, so we had a chance to catch Joyce that night speak, and just the whole atmosphere at this place. This was only their second annual that they had there.
What a great vibe immediately.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they're planning their third already. They said look for around the 4th of July.
Going to do it in the summertime this year.
Yeah, but that night we saw Joyce speak, and the vibe in the building was fantastic. We get back to our rooms. We had traveled all day, and then came Saturday, and that was the night you were going to headline. But it was a day full of workshops and just
Al-Anon speakers.
Sharing.
And oh, man. Yeah.
And it really was just a beautiful, beautiful day all the way around. But that night came, and Jerry came on right after the Sobriety Countdown. And the Sobriety Countdown is where, anybody here with 50 years, and then, whoever.
Count it down to a day. Yeah.
Right. And then they just keep going down and down and down until, anybody here with 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months. It goes like that. And when these kind of things happen, everybody stands up and it gets acknowledged. And it's not like a little golf clap. It's like,
oh, no. And the least amount of sobriety you have, the more clapping you get. We got down to that one guy who was sober like 2 days or something like that.
Right.
We love you.
There were hugs all around.
Oh, man, that guy won't going to have a drink that day.
I'll tell you. So it was just great. And then Jerry got up and spoke and basically brought the house down.
Well, it was just, whatever was said there that was, I give complete and total credit to God. As I've told you, it's his circus and I am just the monkey. But the monkey had a good night that night.
Well, the monkey did, and so did the monkey story that he told as well, which brought everybody around. It was just a lot of riotous laughter. And
how great is that? How wonderful is that to laugh out that loud, and taking into consideration what we're really laughing at is just tragedy, I mean, I know I've probably said this before, but my daughter, who's an adult, grew up in AA because, I was a social worker. I didn't have any money, and that's where I was going, so she'd go, and does not have this disease, and is just, but still, has this love of Alcoholics Anonymous, and she understands and feels the spirituality and the connection that we have. But what absolutely amazes her the most is our ability to laugh, not just laugh hysterically, at complete tragedy. I was drunk and we're driving down the street and I called my wife an ugly name and she stabbed me in the leg and I rolled the car 3 times right in front of the liquor store. And then she's in the back of the room going, oh my God, and everybody, and we're just roaring, and that is a true gift to be able to do that. And we certainly did experience it there because my story is full of all kinds of humorous tragedy, if you will.
Well, we can laugh because we're no longer in that lifestyle.
Exactly.
We can look back at it and say, wow, it sucks that happened, but look where I am today.
And I think that was kind of the theme of what I was trying to talk about, that let's separate you from this disease. Let's take it apart, show it to you, and let you take a good look at what it has done to you. And I don't think we do that enough, that we take the blame that, this is a character defect, when indeed it's what the disease is punishing you with. It's one of the symptoms of fear and things of that, for example.
Well, it was also Midnight Madness in St. Michael's Island that night. And, we were going to go to the dance, but we opted instead to go into town. And the very first minute that we were there, we ended up helping these young kids.
I got to tell this to you. You don't tell it as well as I do.
Okay, go for it.
It's shame on you. And I'm telling you, it was a spiritual experience. It really was. We turned to try to park the car. Midnight Madness. Lots of people in St. Michael's, and it's lit up. It's Christmas time. It's beautiful, and it's picturesque. It's almost like I can't. This is just in my imagination. It's so perfect.
It's like a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it is. It really and truly was. And there was a car kind of in our way. We had to get around that and park, and we parked the car, and we're feeling great. We knew we'd just done a good job at the convention, and we got all the good vibe from that. And as we're walking out, we see these teenagers, 4 or 5 teenage boys. At this car that we had driven around, and what they had happened is the girl who was driving it had high-centered the automobile, had tried to get into a parking place and misguided the car and put it up on a concrete macadam, if you will.
Right.
And they couldn't get it off.
Macadam.
That's
Who
pretty.
uses those words?
Nobody.
My third grade teacher. Everybody out to the macadam. It's like a curb. It's like a concrete curb.
That's much better a way to put it. And they were trying to lift this car, if you will, to get it free of the predicament that they were in. And we just noticed that as we were walking up, and they looked up at us, and we are maybe bigger than the average person, I will put it that way. And they said, would you help us? And this is God doing for you. You cannot do for yourself. Because we're on such a high already. We're just feeling so wonderful. And this is the honest to God truth. Strike me dead if we're lying. We walk up to this car, the two of us, and 1, 2, 3, picked it up, and bang, they were free, and these kids looked at us like, oh my God, Superman. And they were just so incredibly grateful. And I thought it was so humble of the way that we just walked off into the sun, into the moonlight. It's okay, kids. We're glad to have helped you.
Like Chariots of Fire playing in the background.
Yeah, that's all that was missing. So to kind of cap it off with it, we helped somebody out, and it made us feel great because we felt like Superman.
I also want to add that I only used one arm when I did it. And after we had gotten the car off, I did kind of kiss my bicep and say, that's all right, kids. No problem.
Exactly. Here's the
what it's here for.
Could you have ever had a night like that when you were drinking or drugging? Could you ever have experienced that emotion, that feeling, that excitement, that love, that connection? No, it is impossible. This is such the gift of sobriety to be able to experience something like that, treasure it, hold it for your life. As we've talked about those moments in our recovery, there's those moments, those magnificent moments. This was absolutely one. And you string those moments together over a period of life of your recovery, and that's what becomes your epic journey, if you will, to quote Reverend Jack, a journey of epic proportion made up of these magnificent moments. And that, for the two of us, that opportunity to be able to take our experience, strength, and hope and share it with the young people in Maryland like that was a gift from God. It was an honor, and I hope that God was able to communicate his love to them through me. But what he did for us in reciprocation, if you will, to be able to give us memories and an experience that we'll never forget for a lifetime. When you think about it in our behavior, when we go to a place like that, a beautiful island, well, you just drink like crazy, and it'd be Sunday and time to go, and you'd be hungover and looking for another drink and anxious and just want to hate my life, as opposed to the way we left it with just smiling from ear to ear, just filled with joy, filled with love, filled with excitement. That's recovery, and that's what is waiting for you out there right now. If you're, just willing to come on and give up. Just surrender, and we'll take it from there.
Well, so many people say, I don't know if I can have any fun if I got sober. Trust me, we had a great time, because after that, after we picked the car up off the curb, we ended up going to a restaurant and having some sushi, and it was a lot of people watching, and there were thousands of people in the joy, and they were singing Christmas carols, and the sky was clear, and there were a million stars out, and it was
the ocean and the boats, and it was, oh man,
just filled with the spirituality. And you know what was really cool was after it was done, we went back to the hotel. You went to your room, I went to my room, and we fell asleep.
Yes.
And got up the next day feeling crisp and ready to go.
Oh, I just couldn't wait. I woke up, couldn't wait to get in that shower and get back down to where all the young people were, just to get right back into it.
And it should also be said about Jessica, who spoke that morning.
Jessica was just amazing.
She was from North Carolina, and she had a great story. She actually did a little time, so to speak, in a lot of treatment centers in the York, Pennsylvania area and Harrisburg area as well. But she had a great story, and I just want to acknowledge her as well.
Absolutely
for
amazing.
Putting a great cap on a Sunday.
Yeah, it was perfect. So spiritual, I mean, it was. She took us on a trip. I mean, there was a definite journey, and that journey went down to some pretty dark places. But she brought us back right to where we needed to be to make that spiritual connection to end a conference on such a note that I'll never forget it as long as I live.
I also want to say hi to Dan. I don't know if I mentioned him yet, but Dan was the guy who connected with you.
With me to speak, yeah.
Right. So he is another guy who is kind of in charge of everything.
He kind of ran the show down there. He's from Townsend, Maryland.
Okay.
Just outside of Baltimore.
Now,
I guess that's a suburb of Baltimore.
We also met another couple, and a young at heart
Isn't
couple.
This bloke, this is a crazy thing.
They are probably in their 50s.
My age, yeah.
Yeah, and we actually met them in a coffee room. We were sitting in there getting coffee, and Jerry and I were sitting at a table, and they were sitting at another table. And it starts out the way most conversations start. Where are y'all from? You know, and they said they were from Ocean City, Maryland, and then we said, well, we're from outside Philadelphia area. And just got talking and things, and it was a casual conversation.
Nice folks, obviously long-term recovery. Yeah.
Right, but it wasn't an overly loving conversation. No. It was just kind of a feel-out conversation.
Yeah, it didn't connect. Yeah.
Well, they ended up going and seeing Jerry speak on Saturday night, and afterwards, they were glommed on. They just fell in love with you.
Oh, it was a beautiful thing.
And it really was.
I fell in love with them.
Because they were two great people, and they both had long-term recovery. And one of their best things about that, they liked motorcycles. They traveled conventions here and there. But they ended up calling you just about a week ago and
asked me to come speak in Ocean City at their convention, at Ocean City, Maryland's convention this spring. And what an honor, what an incredible honor to be able to be invited again so quickly to such a wonderful event by wonderful people that you see the connection we make. You see, it's so difficult to explain and difficult to articulate the way that when we meet people, we just bond. And I don't even know.
Well, we talk about this all. I've talked about this as one of the things that has kept me sober all these years is getting connected with like-minded people. And when you get a chance to go to one of these events, you get a chance to connect with other people who are happy in their sobriety, they're working their program, and these are the kind of people that you want to connect with. And once you're connected to them, that's how you're forming your new group. I used to connect with people that wanted to sell me dope or people that wanted to get high, and these were the people I hung out with and got connected with, and I was spinning my wheels. I had no positive influences whatsoever. And what I'm saying here is if you go to a meeting or you go to a convention, you get connected with people, you won't even know who you're going to get connected with until afterwards, and you'll say, my goodness, the last people I ever thought I'd get connected with was these people.
Exactly. And argue with me if you will, but I really believe that going to a convention of the nature of the one that we experienced with that level of spirituality could change someone's life. Really. Give you such a new outlook on where to go with the next step of your recovery, to listen to people really who have found, so many different ways to enjoy, be happy, joyous, and free. And you just pick up on so much. And it's that spiritual connection. That's what you make. It's just being filled with God's love and grace. And there was plenty of that at St. Michael's Island. And I just love everybody who was there. I hope that they're listening. We certainly gave a plug for Trudge the Road Radio while I was speaking. And if you were one of those folks, God love you. I do love you, and thank you very much for listening to me while I was there.
So hats off to the MyPA convention, the Maryland convention in St. Michael's this year.
We'll be back.
Looking forward to July when they get it together.
Ocean City, Maryland.
City, Maryland. That's in April.
Yes.
April. You'll be the headliner out there. So we'll be talking about that as we come forward. As I mentioned, we'll also be talking to Jen, and Jen with Al-Anon. She'll be joining us here in a couple of weeks on Trudge the Road Radio. In our next segment, Jerry, you're dealing with a personal issue with a friend who's dying.
It is. That's what it's about, and I don't know what to do.
All right, we'll cover that next. This is Trudge the Road on the Trudge the Road Radio Network.
You're listening to Trudge the Road. Coming up, Jerry talks about a friend who is in desperate need of help, but won't accept it. That's next on the Trudge the Road Radio Network.
Hi, this is Rich, your co-host for the Trudge the Road radio program, and there's a question I get all the time, and that is, how do we catch prior episodes of Trudge the Road if we miss the radio show? And it's very simple. You just go to youtube.com and in the search engine, type in, without any spaces, Trudge the Road Radio, and all our shows will come up. We also invite you to like our Facebook page, which can be found by typing Trudge the Road Radio with spaces into the search engine. And thank you from Jerry and myself for listening to Trudge the Road.
There is a new phase of recovery, and you see it in the pages of Renew Magazine and at RenewEveryday.com. Renew and RenewEveryday.com are changing the face of recovery for good. Each issue is filled with positive role models, life-affirming stories, encouragement, and ideas to help any life in recovery. Whether you're already enjoying an addiction-free life, have a loved one facing his challenges, or are considering recovery, Renew and RenewEveryday.com can support and inspire you. Join us. Check out RenewEveryday.com to learn more. At Northbound Treatment Services in Newport Beach, California, we believe that treatment is the beginning of a new way of life. Our brand signifies our own commitment to help our clients find new direction and strength on their road to recovery. Our mission is simple: to assist our clients in successfully celebrating 1 year of continuous sobriety. This mission is achieved through unique treatment models, individualized treatment plans, graduated phase systems, and exceptional staff, 12-step philosophies, and a strong alumni program. The Northbound Experience focuses on effectively delivering innovative treatment. We are located in the beautiful and vibrant recovering community of Orange County, California. The Northbound Experience takes our clients beyond treatment. We are Northbound.
Welcome back to Trudge the Road. It's sponsored by Karen Treatment Centers. Karen's a nonprofit leading provider of drug and alcohol addiction treatment with treatment facilities in Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, offices in Bermuda, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. They can be reached by calling 1-800-854-6023. You can go to their website, Karen.org. That's CARON.org. We're your hosts. I'm Rich, a recovered drug addict.
My name is Jerry, sober alcoholic.
And our last segment, we talked about the MyPA conference in Maryland, St. Michael's Island in Maryland, and what a great time we had. This particular segment is going to be a little darker than the joy that we expressed in the first segment.
The reality of what this disease is.
Now, you have a personal issue going on. You have a friend who's dying now.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just a friend. I mean, somebody who I love and care for deeply. And, one of those friends of mine who, outside of being illegal, I don't think there's anything he could ask me to do that I wouldn't do, including if he needed a kidney and I could make that happen, I would make that happen.
Wow.
I'd do anything for him. There was a time in my life due to this disease that I was dying. And there was an intervention on his behalf that saved my life. I would have died at that particular episode had he not intervened. He literally saved my life. There's no gray area there. That's black and white. And I've always known that and tried to communicate it to him. But he's, definitely a man of character who, no, I'm just a friend, don't want, take that kind of a compliment. But it is absolutely the truth. And that particular incident was, closer to 30 years ago than not. And times have changed. I did get sober and am sober today and have been sober for a long time. And somewhere along the line, this dear, wonderful, wonderful person became a victim of this disease. And it can rampage. It can be devastating, and it's progressive, and it's awful in what it does to a human being. And to sit here and watch this right in front of my eyes and feel a powerlessness over it, because I am powerless. There's very little that I can do. And so many people have tried to bring this person back. Here is a person of the most admirable character, a family man who just took exceptional care of raising his children, worked that Protestant work ethic, worked as hard as you possibly could, and then some, to make sure they went to college and that they had everything that they needed, and a man involved in his community and doing the next right thing on a day-to-day basis. Basically, living the 12 steps without ever having read them. That's the kind of character, that's the kind of man who I know this person is, because I was there, I saw it, I witnessed it. Right. And when I was so sick and dying, he dropped everything to try to help me. And he did. Indeed, he saved my life. And now the table has turned, and he is in the exact same position I was almost 30 years ago, and in the grips of this disease. And it is taken away from him that character. It has taken away from him that beautiful family. It has taken away that association with the community that he loves so much, and just isolated him into a world that we could only describe as hell. And we think it's the only safe place to be, is in this world of basic constant intoxication, is to where we always, during the day, have to have a drink to be able to survive. And that's where it got with me. It's where it got with a lot of people who are listening, where there is no choice in the matter. And what happens, too, when this is somebody who's not 25 years old, who is older, The ramifications physically can be fast and they can be furious. And this is a deadly disease. The problem is that he doesn't want anybody to tell him anything about it. And interventions have been tried on a number of occasions. Interventions by people who absolutely adore and love this person with absolutely no success. Met with the exact opposite, the resentment, the anger, the don't you dare, to the point where it's caused that isolation of family. You know, where sometimes a family has got to make a very difficult decision, and that is that we have to take care of ourselves. We have to survive, and we can't let one person take an entire family down, and we need to disconnect, you know. And that's really healthy. That's the right thing to do. And that's what's happened and left this individual just all alone, this man of incredible character, kindness, humor, smart as they absolutely come. And I can't do anything about it. Won't listen. So what I'm looking at is somebody who I love dearly who is going to die unless they make a decision. They have to make, and it's one thing. It's give up, surrender. That's it. Nothing else. That's it. You know, as we've said so many times, the art of surrender, you know, as it is in the Geneva Convention, the soldier puts his gun down, he sits there, and he waits for somebody to come tell him what to do. It's as simple as that. We do the same thing. Put that drink down, sit there, listen to the suggestions that are given to you, act upon them, and you'll get better. And what can happen, what I know can happen, I absolutely positively know it, is that if this man will just do what we would like him to do, get treatment and come into the recovering community, that wonderful person of character will come back, that family man will come back, that man who loves his community will come back. It will all come back. We know that. We know that to be a fact. But we can't do anything until that moment comes where he surrenders. You know, and unfortunately, as in the case of many of us, we don't usually surrender until there has been some kind of awful consequence. And God forbid, because you know what kind of consequences I'm talking about. We're alcoholics. We drink and we drive. And we get into accidents and we kill people. That's what it's reality, you know, and that's what I'm deathly afraid of. That's what that something like that is going to happen, or, you know, a health issue. You know, I could only imagine. You know, Dr. Burns, who is a doctor, has told me, how long would you live at your age if you started drinking? Because we don't start over again. We pick up right where we left off, plus however many years. And I was drinking at least a fifth of whiskey every day, not to mention all the other stuff that went along with every day. You know, at a man in his late 20s. Well, you know, now in my mid-50s, how long is that going to last? How many days in a row can I put that much whiskey in me and still continue to walk? Probably not a lot, you know, and that's the reality, is this death. And that's the other thing that I'm so completely afraid of, that if I lose him, you know, I can't describe the fear that I have of that, and the projection of my reaction to something of that nature, because I know that's a reality, that's a real possibility, that could easily happen, you know. So It's what I want to relate to you is that if you're listening to this program and you've got an alcoholic or drug addict in your life and you have what I'm feeling right now, connect with me. I understand that connection, that loneliness, that fact that there are times where we have to just take care of ourselves and put this in the hands of God. And that's what I've chosen to do with this issue, is do everything I possibly can, and I have. And ultimately leave it up to God and let God, you know, open the door so that he can come to us, so that he'll live, so that he can save his life, so that this wonderful, beautiful man can return. It happened to us. We're proof. We're Rich right there, and we're proof that this thing works, because we were just as bad, if not worse, and we made it. We came back, and it was all part of this spiritual journey that we're on, that we want. That's how frustrating it is to know that he's dying, and I've got the solution. He's dying, and I have the solution, and he won't take it. You know, they don't have the solution to this dilemma at Johns Hopkins. We're just a few miles from what's considered the best hospital on the planet. They don't have the solution for this disease. We do. We do. And here we are, ready to offer it to somebody who just isn't ready, for some whatever reason of insanity, to take it, to go ahead and make the decision that losing my family, that separating from my community, that isolating myself, to stay drunk is more important than those. That's crazy. That's insane. You know, and that's what this disease is. The beauty of it is we have the solution. We know what to do. You come to us and we're going to be able to do it, but I can't change your mind. I can only pray that the consequence will wake you up to open the door to our form of recovery, which is the 12 steps, is one that is not of hideous consequences.
You bring up a topic and a scenario that I think a lot of people go through. I mean, what is the number one question that you are asked by someone who's not in the program that has somebody that has an addiction or an alcoholism problem going on right now? The question is, what do I do?
What do I do?
And I know a lot of non-addicted people listen to Trudge the Road to try to get some answers and try to find some answers to, how do I solve this? And what you're saying is there's really nothing you can do.
Everything you can do to a point, and realize that that's not enough. And that's where the spiritual aspect of this program comes in. There comes a time when I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you have to trust in a power greater than yourself. You can't do this. You cannot fight this disease. Nobody can. No one can. God can. And just do what I have done now, which is everything you can to prepare for the crisis when it can, and then be ready to offer the solution, and then just ask God to please take care of this individual until that they can be delivered to you, and that you can do what you know what to do, and that is solve the problem, this disease of addiction. So I'm trusting God in this, and I always have, and He's never let me down. And I've told Him in my prayers how much I love this man, and that I would do anything for this man, anything, and that I'm here, and I'm so frustrated that I can't take what I do and offer it to Him so that he can live. That just, and so I ask God for the help, and I turn it over, and I just wait and let Him do His work.
Well, I think you're telling a lot of people's story, and we'll pray for your friend, and
please,
we hope that he will see the light somewhere down the line, and he will take that first step, and set it down and just listen.
That's it. That's all you got. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's it.
This is Trudge the Road on the Trudge the Road Radio Network.
You're listening to Trudge the Road. Coming up, Rich talks about detox and prisons. That's next on the Trudge the Road Radio Network.
At Northbound Treatment Services in Newport Beach, California, we believe that treatment is the beginning of a new way of life. Our brand signifies our own commitment to help our clients find new direction and strength on their road to recovery. Our mission is simple: to assist our clients in successfully celebrating 1 year of continuous sobriety. This mission is achieved through unique treatment models, individualized treatment plans, graduated phase systems, and exceptional staff, 12-step philosophies, and a strong alumni program. The Northbound Experience focuses on effectively delivering innovative treatment. We are located in the beautiful and vibrant recovering community of Orange County, California. The Northbound Experience takes our clients beyond treatment. We are Northbound.
Hi, this is Rich, your co-host for the Trudge the Road radio program, and there's a question I get all the time, and that is, how do we catch prior episodes of Trudge the Road if we miss the radio show? And it's very simple. You just go to youtube.com and in the search engine, type in, without any spaces, Trudge the Road Radio, and all our shows will come up. We also invite you to like our Facebook page, which can be found by typing Trudge the Road Radio with spaces into the search engine. And thank you from Jerry and myself for listening to Trudge the Road. Welcome back to Trudge the Road. It's sponsored by Caron Treatment Centers. Caron, a nonprofit leading provider of drug and alcohol addiction treatment with treatment facilities in Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, offices in Bermuda, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and the nation's capital. They can be reached by calling 1-800-854-6023, or you can go to their website, caron.org. That's CARON.org. We're your hosts. I'm Rich, a recovered drug addict.
My name is Jerry. I'm a sober alcoholic.
Let's let everyone know here, halfway through the show, why we do the show, Jerry.
Trudge the Road Radio is dedicated to folks like us who suffer from the disease of addiction to alcohol and drugs. Every bit as important, you folks who love us or who try to love us, our friends, our family, we know that you suffer incredibly, and we absolutely know you got a lot of questions, and that's our goal here, is to answer as many of those questions as we possibly can, and with the grace of the good Lord above, find a solution to this incredible dilemma, the disease of addiction.
A quick recap of programming notes, Matt?
Very simple.
Oh, that's his music.
That's his music. I'm going to do better than that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, dude.
Very simple. TrudgeTheRoadRadio.com. Go to your Google search, start typing us in. We'll pop right up. You go right there. You link to our website. There you will find all kinds of good information. Like you can find our Facebook page link and come and like us. You can find our Twitter handle at TTR Show. You can also find prior episodes that links to our YouTube page. And you can find a link to Jerry and the 12 Steps, where it can now be purchased at Amazon.com.
Amen. Thank you very much. Matt's got his shoes off. I've known you've got the biggest feet of.
Thanks. Well, you know what
you
they say about guys in big feet.
Yeah. They pay extra for shoes. Is that
It's cold up here in
okay.
PA, man. My feet are freezing.
The last segment we talked about the personal issue with a friend who's dying that you laid out for us. And you know how difficult that is to hear, not only because, you're our friend and we know what you must be going through, but to know that there are literally thousands upon thousands, if not a million people going through similar.
It's the greatest lesson in powerlessness that you can possibly have, and it's the biggest frustration in the world, as I said in the last segment, to know exactly what his dilemma is, and to know exactly what to do about it is real frustrating when the other party won't say okay, know. And you know the consequences. The consequences are jails, institutions, and death. Let's just be honest about it. That's what's going to happen to all of us if you suffer from the disease of addiction. You're going to find recovery, or you're going to end up in the graveyard or institutionalized. And that's just really the way it is.
And it's sad because there's a lot of good people out there. As a matter of fact,
all good people.
Most people that are addiction, something rings in my head every time I think about these things and how you say this is not a character disease. This is not a disease of your character. This is a disease that takes away your character.
Absolutely. It destroys it and creates an element that could be described as a monster. And that's what we do around here is we change that. And we believe, it's our personal philosophy, not just as hosts of this radio station, of this radio program, to be as actively involved within the recovering community as we possibly can, both of us, in every aspect of the recovering community. And we spoke earlier in this about going and speaking at a conference in Maryland, and that was wonderful. And I'm so grateful, and I'm humbled to be able to do it. But we know that an element like that, everybody, they're super sober. They're there to just get, more spirituality and more connection and things of that nature. But we also go to where, the street level is. And really that's kind of your territory, jails and institutions. And I had the privilege of just the other day of going with you to Detox. It's a public detox in a metropolitan area. And the folks who are in there are off the street. And most of them are coming off of heroin. And whatever other street drugs that they may be on. It's a very, very uncomfortable, difficult environment to be in. It certainly isn't pretty. There's nothing pretty about this place whatsoever. But there is opportunity in there. There is God in there, and there is recovery and detox. And it's just that moment, if you can just plant the right seed, say the right thing, or whatever that could open the door to be able to save one of these lives is what we do. And what you did it was magnificent to be able to connect with folks. There's 18 guys in detox, and you spoke to them for an hour. And to be able to hold their attention for an hour is almost impossible, just due to the fact they're so sick, coming off of these drugs. And you left, when we left, I know there was hope in the room. I know that people felt better, that people thought, maybe I can because he can. And I'm not, taking your inventory because of how far down you went, but you were able to make a connection with this incredibly important demographic who means is every bit as much to us are basically the street people. And you just did a magnificent job in detox. And a lot of folks are afraid to go into that environment. And I understand, afraid to go into the jail. And that's kind of where you fit in the best. And I mean that absolutely as a compliment. I admire that incredibly.
Well, I appreciate that. And I will tell you that when you go into these places, basically what I see is who I was. I was in detox. Mm-hmm. You were in detox. So
a number of times.
So when you cap your story, when I share my experience, strength, and hope, and I talk about, if I can do it, you can do it. I really mean that. If I can do it,
Well, it's
you
obvious.
can do
It's
it.
proof, yeah.
You know, if you follow these 12 steps, like I followed these 12 steps, you can be up here instead of over there. And it's true. Because, you know, in my personal story, I went about as low as you can get.
Without dying. That was the only thing you didn't do was die.
Well, you're right. You know, everything else about me died. I was just physically still alive.
Breathing, yeah.
But emotionally, I had died. And, you know, I had no friends. I had no family at that point. I had nothing but an addiction. And my story always caps out with me behind that dumpster with that broken mirror and that broken light bulb that I'm smoking crystal meth out of. And how I look in the mirror, I'm sweating. I'm in the Arizona heat, and I just look at myself. I'm 80 pounds lighter than I am now, and telling
you're
myself,
not heavy now. You know.
I'm going to die, and not caring whether I did or not.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's a dark, 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 dark place to be at. I know it, man.
And I think that when I tell this story, a lot of people that are in detox currently, it is so fresh in their mind that they
Make that relation.
may have been there within the week or 2 weeks, or you go
3 or 4
into
days.
a jail. A lot of these guys know that they can relate to that kind of thing. And the fact that I kind of look like them.
That wasn't going to.
Yeah, you were.
Well,
you bring it up somewhere down the line.
and we, you know, and honestly, we make you look that way to a certain degree, but it is important that you relate and not be a poser. You know, try to look street. There just is, you know, you know what it is to be street, and there's no lie to it. It's real. They don't.
Go ahead.
You know,
Go ahead. Keep going. Talk about the hair.
You got really long hair. It's a ponytail, and you wear a beard, and when you dress like you dress on the street, you look like you're on the street, man. You know, you fit right in. It's what I'm saying. It's a compliment, man. It really is.
But that's me. You know, I don't put on any airs when I
we've
go
seen
in.
that. We've seen posers, guys who will go into a jail or detox situation. They'll try and dress up like a biker or something, and everybody sees right through that. You know, and you're the real deal, and that's why that works.
Well, I think that's why they do connect with me, or I connect with them when I'm in detox. Is that I am one of them.
They know that it's honesty. That's all it is. It's honesty.
Yeah, everyone in there, I know exactly what you're going through. I've
That's
been
true.
there.
Yes,
I have
that's why it
been
works.
there.
Right.
And I have also allowed myself to set everything down and to listen and take the first step. And I've applied these things to my life, which have led me to this life of long-time sobriety and all these good things that came back to me because I gave everything away. You know, people say, oh, you lost this, you lost that. But as you said, Jerry, I mean, I didn't lose anything. I gave everything I had away. I gave away my family. I gave away my kids. I gave away my job. I gave away all my possessions. I gave away my dignity. I gave away my character. I gave everything away to continue to feed the beast. And the beast was the beast of addiction. And it wasn't until I finally had enough, you know, and you got to say, well, why didn't you have enough a few years ago? You know, well, I did, but I still didn't. It wasn't until I finally made a commitment to myself that I was going to try something different and take a different path. You always hear that story about going down the same road. You know, that's the definition of insanity. But as we like to say, you keep going down the same road, expecting different results.
But we know exactly what's going to happen, and we still go down the road. Now, that's really being insane.
And yet I did. And it wasn't until I finally opened myself up.
Consequences.
Right. And, you know, so many halfway houses and so many detoxes and so many people that just had given up on me and so much mistrust. And I knew that I was not that person. And as we mentioned before about character, I believe, and as everyone does, I believe that my character is a lot stronger than it was when I was addicted. But when I was addicted, I thought, well, my character's still intact. Well, take a look around you. You know, apparently it's not. You know, you take a look around, you see all these people that aren't there anymore. And the only people you see sitting in front of you are the people that want to get high and they want to go out and destroy their lives. And why is this guy over here living in his car? And why is this girl over here sleeping with her second boyfriend? And why is all of these things? What about you, Rich? Take a look at yourself. And it got to a point where I said, I just can't do this anymore. And I started applying myself. And
Surrender.
I surrendered. And that is what brought me to the point of where I am now, which is sitting across from you.
Happy, joyous, and free.
Co-hosting this radio program and, of course, being a part of the recovering community and getting the opportunity, and I should say the privilege. I got a text just last night. From James, who is going to...
That's right. You're speaking in Detox here in the next day or two, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. And I'm very excited about that. It's a chance to go back down. It's going to be a nighttime one.
Oh, I'm coming with you, man. I want to be there for that.
Because normally we do these on Sunday mornings, and I'll go in early in the morning. The guys haven't really woke up yet. Jerry always stops and...
Get donut and coffee.
Gets donuts because he makes a lot more money than me. And I can't
Truth
afford
be
that.
told.
I can't afford that.
I can.
I was trying to put gas in my car. But it's going to be very exciting, a chance to go back in and see these guys in an evening.
It's where it's going to be a lot more chill and laid back, and it won't be the clock thing. You'll be able to take your time.
Yeah, so again, it's a privilege of mine, and it's a chance to give back. And I know you tell the story.
I'm just so proud of you, dude. I really and truly am.
Well, you tell the story of Bill and Bill W. and when he was sitting there, and it was that last moment.
The last one.
And he thought to himself, maybe I can get sober by helping another alcoholic. And that is not what happened to me in the beginning. I found sobriety without helping anybody but myself. But
that's how it's got to start.
But this is how I conduct myself these days. I have a story to share. And one of the things that I always say when I first sit down is, have I got a story for you? And having been addicted for more than half my life, I get a chance to tell these guys, this is exactly what happened to me. I started out as an alcoholic. I started out as an alcoholic at 14 years old. I switched addictions in the late 80s and became a crystal meth addict. And I gave up everything for my love, which was crystal meth. So, half my life has been alcoholism. The other half has been drug addiction, and it all rolls into the same ball. But I was able to overcome this. And I was able to overcome this by putting the 12 steps on the table in front of me and following these steps, this blueprint for living. And as we mentioned earlier, getting connected with like-minded people and not spending my time, thinking about, maybe this guy's cool, but he still wants to get high. Is getting connected with people that want to stay sober and get sober, because I have seen what addiction. I firsthand knowledge. I saw it. It happened to me. I don't want to be that way. I want the life I have today, and the life I have today is where I get a chance to do this show, maybe share some knowledge, maybe share a little bit of hope, and go out and go to these places where these guys are just coming off the street and let them know there is hope. I've been in your chair. So I just feel privileged for it, and thanks to James.
Well, it's
for calling
magnificent. It really is, and I can't wait for you. You are blessed to be able to communicate with an audience like that who is so desperate for help.
But we've got to come up with another name for me than the one that's been bandied about
Detox Rich
over the past couple of months. Detox Rich, which is cool and all.
It's
Richie
not right,
Detox. Yeah, Richie Detox.
That guy lived in detox his whole life.
Yeah, but again, it's a privilege to go out and to share my experience, strength, and hope with people that need it.
Absolutely. And if you get a chance to listen to Rich at a conference or a convention, make sure that you come to it, because you will appreciate it and love it very much.
Matter of fact, there is a story on YouTube on one of our episodes called Meth and Squirrels.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I do kind of share my story on that. So if you're listening to this episode, you might want to go to youtube.com/Trudge the Road Radio, or just type in the search engine and look for Meth and Squirrels.
Meth, I remember the episode now. That's a good one.
You'll catch it from beginning to end, and therefore you'll know
It was just after I got back from Texas, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, that's where the squirrel part comes in. The magical squirrel.
It's a magical squirrel. That's a true story.
In San Antonio. But anyways, coming up, we're going to wrap up Trudge the Road in our fourth and final segment, so keep it close. This is Trudge the Road on the Trudge the Road Radio Network.
You're listening to Trudge the Road. Coming up, Rich and Jerry talk about Al-Anon. That's next on Trudge the Road Radio Network.
At Northbound Treatment Services in Newport Beach, California, we believe that treatment is the beginning of a new way of life. Our brand signifies our own commitment to help our clients find new direction and strength on their road to recovery. Our mission is simple: to assist our clients in successfully celebrating 1 year of continuous sobriety. This mission is achieved through unique treatment models, individualized treatment plans, graduated phase systems, and exceptional staff, 12-step philosophies, and a strong alumni program. The Northbound Experience focuses on effectively delivering innovative treatment. We are located in the beautiful and vibrant recovering community of Orange County, California. The Northbound Experience takes our clients beyond treatment. We are Northbound.
Welcome back to Trudge the Road for our fourth and final segment this week. It is sponsored by Caron Treatment Centers. Caron is a nonprofit leading provider of drug and alcohol addiction treatment with treatment facilities in Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, and offices in Bermuda, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. They can be reached by calling 1-800-854-6023, or you can go to their website, caron.org. That's CARON.org. We're your hosts. I'm Rich, a recovered drug addict.
My name is Jerry, sober alcoholic.
And Matt, the producer, is over there as well. And we have a guest coming here in next couple of weeks. Her name is Jen N. And Jen was the Al-Anon speaker at the recent conference we went to in Maryland, the Young People's Conference out there. And what a wonderful lady she was.
Wow.
We got a chance to hang out with her. It was almost like meant to be, because she spoke. We were blown away by her speaking. Mm-hmm. You and I ended up going to lunch at this seafood place.
Way cool. And there she is sitting right across from us.
She's sitting right at the table next to us. And so we talked to her a little bit there. But then later that night when you spoke, she ended up sitting right next to me. And that's when we really started talking. And then we went down to breakfast, and she was down there at breakfast.
God doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves.
So it was sort of meant to be. So we're very excited about her coming up and giving that perspective, that Al-Anon perspective.
Exactly. And she does it absolutely so well. She's from, if you're from the Northeast, you probably will have heard of Schuylkill, the Schuylkill Expressway.
Sure.
The Schuylkill Expressway?
Yeah, the Schuylkill, as they call it. She's from Schuylkill County. And that is one, in the United States, Schuylkill County has, I think it's the second highest rate of alcoholism in the United States.
I didn't know that.
They call it the little county sobriety forgot. She's coming from that very difficult environment and sociology, and her story, of course, is one from a family of addicted people, from an environment, from a culture of addiction, and her journey. Wow, it was really, really, really tough, and to be able to listen to kind of what we do to other people, it hurts for a minute, but we really need to know that. They say that when we're in the height of our addiction, an alcoholic, a drug addict, that we are not lovable. We can't be loved, and that we, as individuals, do not have the ability to love. And I've always kind of taken that with a bit of a grain of salt, not really certain. But now, especially after listening to her, I can see that to be absolutely the case, and absolutely true, because in my own life, I just, the root of my problem is selfishness and self-centeredness. And it was all about me, taking care of me, surviving for me, getting my next drink, getting my next drug, getting my way, no matter what. And when you are that, when that is your personality, how could you love anyone else? How could you possibly love me? I could certainly use people. I could tell you that I loved you to get out of you what I wanted. And that kind of behavior is extremely destructive. And thank God we've got a program here in Alcoholics Anonymous that gives you the opportunity to make amends for that behavior. Because if that wasn't there, I think that the guilt and shame of what we have done would be so overwhelming that we would just start doing drugs and alcohol again, because that is what we do. And guilt and shame, they'll kill you. They were only as sick as the secrets we keep. And those are the ones we keep. I'm going to take that one to the grave with me, because it's just nobody will understand. And that's what we learned from Jen, is we do understand. And we really don't care so much what you did, but we care a great deal about what it did to you and to those that are around you and that you want to love, and that the people who want to love us. Looking back at it now, I know that people were trying so hard to love me. really trying hard. And I think in a very sick way, I was trying to do the same, but it was absolutely impossible. And the consequences of those relationships, just absolutely disastrous. But how do I feel about me? You know, how did that affect me? How am I dealing with the ramifications of the consequences of what was my inappropriate behavior? But we don't in our cups when we're addicted, when we're into it, don't see it. I could certainly see everything wrong that you did and certainly bring it to your attention and probably have the ability to articulate or communicate to you that, yeah, indeed it is your fault and make you feel and think that way. We have that kind of sick power when we're in the height of our addiction. And what we do to other people, it's just indefinable. And to sit there and listen to her have to tell us about the suffering we put her through. Thank God there's another part of her story where she finds Al-Anon and her own recovery so that she doesn't have to suffer from the consequences of this disease. See, you don't have to have a drink or a drug to suffer immensely from alcoholism and drug addiction. And her way out, her path, was one of admiration, one of spirituality, one of hope, and I can't wait to get her on the program to be able to explain that journey to everybody.
So I'll be listening for that upcoming show. This is Trudge the Road, sponsored by Karen Treatment Centers. Karen's a nonprofit leading provider of drug and alcohol addiction treatment. Karen specializes in men's and women's services, as well as young adult males and females, plus a relapse program and outpatient services. If you're concerned about yourself or a loved one, call 1-800-854-6023 or go to the website, karen.org. That's CARON.org. For Jerry and Matt, the producer, I'm Rich. This is Trudge the Road on the Trudge the Road Radio Network.
You've been listening to Trudge the Road. If you'd like to catch prior episodes, you can visit our website, trudgetheroadradio.com, and keep listening for new episodes on this great radio station, which is part of the Trudge the Road Radio Network.
Thank you for listening to Trudge the Road. The opinions expressed in the show are those of myself, Jerry, my co-host, Rich, and our guests, and not necessarily those of the Karen Treatment Centers. For more information regarding the show, go to our website, trudgetheroadradio.com.